What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk with Coach Jake. Hope I'm doing well. Big news happened earlier today. The Washington Commanders and the star receiver Terry McLaurin came to an agreement. They've had a back and forth contract negotiations for several weeks, if not months now, throughout training camp. They came to a deal, 3 years, $96 million for Terry McLaurin. I'm not going to give you his resume and his numbers. You guys know who he is. One of the best receivers in the league. To me, very underrated. He's for years has had really bad quarterback play. Finally got a legit quarterback last year in Jane Daniels, multiple time All Pro receiver, and he gets his deal from the Washington Commanders, 3 years, $96 million. So huge deal for him. It comes to $32 million a year, so that's a huge deal. I think this is a perfect deal for the two of them. I think $32 million is fair. He's a fantastic receiver. I mean, definitely top 10 receiver in football. Not quite on, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson's level. He's not getting $40 million like Chase, but $32 million. I think this is perfect for both sides. It's for 3 years. Commanders get it done, locking up Terry McLaurin. Speaking of the Commanders, they also traded running back Brian Robinson Jr., been their starting running back the last couple of years, to the San Francisco 49ers for a 6th-round draft pick. Brian Robinson, this is his career, obviously. Wow, it's crazy that him and Ricky Pierce are both from the same team because they both prior to their rookie season starting in the last couple of years were shot and then came back, early on in their rookie season and played a full season and produced and were relatively effective. So just two crazy stories, both on the same team. His rookie year in the 12 games and 9 starts, he ran for almost 800 yards and 2 touchdowns, 3.9 yards a carry. 2 seasons ago, he ran for 733 yards on 4.1 yards a carry. And last year in 14 games, he had just about 800 yards, 799 total rushing yards on 4.3 yards per carry. He's got 65 catches in 41 career games. McCaffrey obviously had a lot of injuries last year, only played like 3 or 4 games, a lot of issues with his ankle and his Achilles and his knees. And he's healthy right now, but their backup, who played really well last year, Jordan Mason, they traded away to Minnesota. So outside of Isaac Arenda, who played briefly last year, there isn't a whole lot behind McCaffrey, and then they got a legit running back behind McCaffrey in Brian Robinson. For fantasy outlook, and all of you doing your fantasy football draft, I'm hoping to do something fantasy football related sometime in the next week and a half or so before the NFL season starts. So we'll see what happens with that. But it comes to Brian Robinson, if you already drafted him, don't panic. Honestly, even before we got traded, he was going pretty late in drafts for what I've seen. He was only going probably 10th, 11th, 12th, 14th round anyway. Yes, he's still not going to probably get enough touches if he's not scoring touchdowns to where he's worth starting right now. So I'm having some McCaffrey in Kyle Shanahan's offense. That guy could be a league winner. So keep him. Even if you haven't done your draft yet, don't completely avoid it. If you draft McCaffrey, he's almost a must pick up. Snag him. He's not going very early. He's going much later on in drafts. Even if you don't have McCaffrey, it's not a bad pick. There's no risk taking him when you're going to be taking him. And again, if McCaffrey gets hurt, which we've seen happen in the past, that's a guy who could be a league winner. Guy you get in the 13th round and ends up having a great season because of the volume and the opportunities that he'll have and the talent, the players, the system. So he's now at 49er. He gets traded to the 49ers. The Indianapolis Colts named Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. That's probably a wrap on Anthony Richardson's career in Indianapolis. And look, he was really raw coming out of school. He should not have started week 1 2 years ago. But also, the guy's been absolutely atrocious. He's the least accurate quarterback in the league, I think, ever at one point. Last year, the guy tapped out of the game at one point. He just doesn't have the mental capacity and the leadership qualities to be a starting quarterback in this league, if you ask me. He's got bust written all over him so far. He's still really young. Obviously, the physical tools are obviously still there. So I think if Indianapolis moves on, someone will definitely take a shot at him, try and turn him into a project. See if they can, they're going to look at Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, guys like that. A couple of guys like that, racing Geno Smith, and see if something they can fix them. But at this one, like with Baker Mayfield, he was in a very bad situation in Cleveland and in Carolina. He always had the ability to play, just he needed to mature a little bit and need a better situation. Sam Darnold was in very bad situations at the Jets in Carolina. He just needed to go to go to San Francisco and really learn for a year, sit back and watch, and just get a better situation. And Geno Smith was in very bad situations with the Jets. He bounced around the league and he learned a lot. I think definitely humbled him. Not being able to get a starting job for a while. Gets the first crack at it after Russ gets traded in Seattle and has turned into a half decent quarterback. So teams are going to hope that they can do that with him. This one, none of those guys had legit, laziness issues. Or Baker had some character concerns for sure, but he was able to mature. And not sure what's going to happen for Anthony Richardson. But Jones is the QB1 in Indianapolis. It's really hard for you to go back to him at this point. It's not like Daniel Jones is, it's like when the Bucks, decided to let Jameis Winston walk after they signed Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever. Guy was in his 40s and was still one of the league's best signal callers. Daniel Jones was a massive bust for the Giants the last 6 years. It was 4-year, $106 million deal with one of the worst contracts ever. This is not yet replaced by a legend by any means, or even an average starter for that matter. So his time in Indy should be coming to an end soon, I would think. Daniel Jones is a star in Indianapolis. And before we go to the next segment, Carolina Panthers extend Taylor Moton, the starting right tackle. He's one of the better offensive tackles in the entire league. Excellent pass blocker. Got to keep Bryce Young upright. He's a very good right tackle. They extend him 2 years, $44 million, and $40 million guaranteed. It came out last week that John Wall announced his official retirement from the NBA. John Wall, when he first came into the league, was an absolute star. Unfortunately, injuries really killed his career. He was a star at Kentucky in the late 2000s, dipping into 2010. He was the second overall recruit at a high school in 2009. Was the first overall pick back in prior to the 2011 season. Was the runner-up in Rookie of the Year race in 2011, averaging 16 points and 8 assists. I'm going to go year by year to show you how dominant, how underrated this guy's peak was. He averaged 16 and 8 in his second year in the league. The strike shortened year in 2012. 2013 had some injuries, but when he was healthy, averaged 18 points and 7 assists. 2014 made his first All-Star appearance, averaging 19 points, 8, almost 9 assists. 2015 All-Star again, was also the runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year, averaged 17 points and 10 assists. In 2015, 2016 was an All-Star again, averaged 19, almost 20 points and 10 assists. 2017, he was his best year of his career. Finished 7th in the MVP voting, was an All-Star, was 13 All-NBA, averaged 23 points, 10, almost 11 assists. In 2018, had a lot of injuries, only played half the season, but All-Star, 19 points a game and 9 assists before he got hurt in the second half of the year. 2019 was averaging 20 points and 8 assists through the first 32 games that he played. Then he tore his Achilles, retore it before again a few months later while he was recovering for it, which cost him all of 2020. He ended up getting traded to the Rockets in 2021. After he had a decent year, he averaged 20 points and 6, almost 7 assists that year. And we're actually gonna get a mic press. I mean, Neil Kumar, I've not talked to in a while. So Neil, how are you today?
Life too. What's happening, man?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Good, man. I saw you here. I thought maybe you were gonna rant for a bit, but I thought I just will just hit up the mic, man. What's going on?
Not much. I didn't do a show the last few days, so a couple of stuff happened last week. I'm talking about how John Wall retired. I'm just, talking about how his peak was a lot better than people think, and it's really a shame what happened with his career. Injuries kind of really killed him.
Sorry, who did you say?
John Wall.
John Wall. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen him play. Actually, he was quite amazing. I saw him play. He had, I think, 12 assists in the game against the Raptors. He was amazing, man. He used to run the court when he was not having those knee problems. He was like A1, man. He really was an amazing point guard.
It's a shame because even in 2021, this is after he missed a year and a half with the Achilles. He played pretty well for the Rockets, but the following year the following year they basically were going to tank mode, so they didn't play him. He just sat out the entire season. I think they bought him out. The Clippers signed him, but he was just like, at that point, he was 32, the shell of himself. He averaged 11 points and 5 assists his last year. Only played 34 games off the bench.
Yeah.
I think they ended up trading him back to the Rockets, actually.
So you're absolutely right. I like what you said about the fact that when he went over to the Rockets, because he did have a good year. I had him in fantasy that season. He had actually 2 triple doubles that year, and they reunited him with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah,
but it didn't. They got rid of him after like 25 games or something. I don't know. DeMarcus Cousins did something DeMarcus Cousins and then he wasn't able to play with them. So I was hoping that was going to revive his career, it was looking good for him. But yeah. I was a fan of his, actually. I remember he was the number 1 pick for the Wizards, and he was supposed to be the answer to fix things over there, and it didn't happen. Just because Washington doesn't really know what they're doing. They're year in, year out. They suck.
But it's a shame because like he was like starting to kind of draw some eyes to them. He had them playing on Christmas. He had them playing in prime time. They were not great, but they had 1 or 2 years where they were like kind of decent.
Definitely elevated them. Absolutely.
Like they got to the playoff, which is something that no one else has really done.
Yeah, if he didn't get injured, he could have been one of the greatest point guards of all time, like in the class.
Yeah.
Like he had all the tools, and like I say, I remember seeing him in Toronto, and we were really close. Like I was like just rows away from the court, and he was running the floor. I seen Steve Nash as well before Steve Nash was an All-Star in 2000. When I went to Humber, I was at Humber. So that was the school I went to in North Toronto, and the 2000 men's basketball team was there for the Olympics training. It was crazy. I was late for class that day. We actually went to school for the summer. It was actually it was a post-grad course. So it started in January and it went to August. And I was basically like, we were told if you get a job at a station, you're going to job out. So I was like, my whole goal was to get a station, and I was basically going to get out of there. So that's what I did. It was in like a really small town Ontario, but it was worth it. But anyway, I ended up going to class. This was days before I jobbed out. They called it job out, but I remember I was kind of being lackadaisical because I knew I already had the job, so I was going to get jobbed out. But I still went to the class, and I went late. And when I was walking through, we were actually driving through the parking lot, and I saw somebody walking through. I don't know. Do you remember who Todd McCullough was? Do you remember who that is?
Tom McCullough. Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you who it was. In 2000 and 2001, was it 2000? No, it was 2001 and 2002. So he went to the finals with the Sixers in 2001, and then in 2002 he was the Nets, the Jason Kidd Nets, and they went to the finals, and he was on that team. So he was a Canadian, he was from Winnipeg, and he played, and he was good, actually. I don't know if he would have been an all-star, but he was a solid center, and he ended up having a nerve issue, but he was on that team. I interviewed him, too.
Oh, wow.
Steve Nash, I got the tapes. They're hilarious, actually, because I was a college kid and you just hear me like asking like the obvious questions. But I'll send you a reel. Actually, there's one on YouTube with Steve Nash because I messed up when I spoke to Steve Nash. It's hilarious. I should get you to play it because when I was, I'll just jump to Steve Nash real quick because this is more entertaining. He was such an asshole. Like he knew I was waiting to see him and so I could interview him, right? Right. Because he saw me with the mic and the recorder and everything, and I was sitting there for 2 hours watching him practice, and I realized how good he was being up close to him. Like we were in a gym, like in a YMCA type gym, just giving a picture. It was Humber College gym. And he was running the floor, man. He got snubbed that year, actually. He should have been an all-star with Dallas that year with Nowitzki. They both got snubbed, actually. And so he was on the rise, but he was such an ass to me. Like, I waited for him forever, and he had friends from Toronto because he's from, like, BC, right? So he had Toronto friends. He was talking to them in the stands after. So after practice, he's talking for, like, 45 minutes, right? So he's sweaty and everything, right? So he's standing up for 45 minutes talking to him. Then I come up, and I'm like, hey, Steve. And he didn't really want to, like, acknowledge me. And I'm like, I was wondering if I could interview you, like, with Humber College. He's like, yeah, okay. He's like, and he said dick right away. He was like, do you think we could just walk and talk? I don't be standing around in my sweat. I'm thinking to myself, you just sat here for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, what's the point? Just do the interview and move on.
He was like rushing me and like being a real prick, and we were like walking and talking. I'm like recording and walking and talking, right? And then so at the end of the interview, I was like so rushed, and I was like obviously nervous because he was like putting the pressure on me. And I just interviewed Jay Triano, who was the coach. Yeah. You know who that is, right? Yeah. He was the coach of Team Canada. Yeah. Before he ever became a head coach in the NBA. But yeah. And he was really receptive. He was so cool and everything. And he gave me all his time and everything. But I just interviewed him. And so because his name was Jay and I was interviewing Steve and I was wrapping up, I'm like, okay, Jay, thanks for your time. He should have said Steve, right? I was like, okay, Jay, thanks for your time. And then he got so pissed. He's like, Yeah, you can try that again. I'm like, and I'm
Oh,
laughing. I'm like,
jeez.
okay. I'm like, okay, Steve, thanks for your time and good luck in Olympics. He's like, no problem, Bob. I'll send you the reel. It's hilarious.
Please
But
do, yeah.
yeah, no, so and yeah, I just had to jump to Steve Nash. But Tom McCullough, when I drove to the parking lot that morning, I was late for class. I seen this guy walking to the parking lot. He's super tall, like 7 feet. And I said to myself, that guy looks like Tom McCullough. I didn't think nothing of it because I was late for class. So I
Right.
parked my car and I went up to the class. And then it was the news class that I was in, and the teacher assigned me to go and cover that because he was a big basketball fan. I didn't even know they were there. So I went in there, they started talking. They're like, "Oh yeah, Team Canada's here." I'm like, "No way, that was Todd McCullough who I saw in the parking lot."
Wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, so I went down. It was hilarious. They were staying in the dorms, and the dorms are like only good enough for like people that were like 5'10" on average. Like you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
beds and stuff. Like I couldn't imagine, especially Tom McCullough. He probably needed like 2 beds. But yeah, it was funny. So yeah, it was just crazy. And then and I actually like was so surprised that he showed up at campus there. I didn't think that that was a gymnasium that was of their. I didn't think that it would be fit enough for them to train in. I was really surprised that they were actually there training in those gyms. But yeah, it was cool. Anyway, so they went to the Olympics. They were successful that year, but they lost to Tony Parker in France. They went into I think the playoff round at 3-1, and they looked good. And then Steve Nash and them, like when they got beat, like Nash was crying. He like walked off to the court. I didn't watch it because it was like 3:40 in the morning, and my buddy was over. He's like, "Oh," he said, "I'm gonna watch it." And I gave him like the portable TV because I didn't actually have cable, and he watched it or whatever. And then when they lost, I was like, "Well, good thing you stayed up for that, eh?" It was in Australia, so the time difference was pretty crazy. Eh? It's like I guess they were like 13 hours ahead of us or something like that. So it was like the game was at like 3:40 in the morning or something like that. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, I got a chance to see those guys. But hey, look, man, I wanted to talk to you about baseball. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's a good thing to do quickly. So you saw I sent the power standings in the Young Fantasy Baseball group. So
Right.
we've been so it's just crazy because in that group we were talking like everybody, and I apologize for this. I try to put in a lot of Mets stuff and Dodger stuff, and try to like equalize. I know we're all like primarily like baseball fans, but most of us are baseball fans, but Blue Jays fans. So I feel like sometimes we're just constantly being like pro Blue Jays. So I apologize for that. But I was gonna say like so surprising how we were so critical of that team going in, and now they're obviously like they're right now ranked 4th in the power rankings.
Yeah, they've had a great year.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and I think Shane Bieber's a great fit. And I just think that now if he can do what he did the other night. I know he was up against the Marlins, but if you saw the pitches that he was making and the movement on his pitches,
yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah, and he was clocking like 95 to 90 to start. And that's really good to start that. Like, you know what I mean? So I think the Blue Jays can have a good rotation that's going to be good enough for them to get in the playoffs. And, hopefully they can win the East and be able to get that first round bye because they'll need that rest. And I hope that they get Santander back. But, I mean, and I know your Mets are right there, but they kind of slipped a little bit lately. I see that
they've not been playing well for a while now.
Yeah, so like probably 2 weeks, but they were hot before that, I think. But they're only 5 games out, and they still can get a wild card even if they didn't get first. But yeah, I mean, so what do you think? Like, I mean, right now, I guess the number one team ranked is Milwaukee because they've been on a tear.
Yeah.
And then you got, I think who's ranked second? Was it the Phillies? I think it was the Phillies. No, sorry. It was the Tigers.
Okay.
It was the Brewers, Tigers, Phillies, Jays.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember who the 15 was, but it might have been the Dodgers. No, Dodgers are 6th. Anyway, what do you think is going on with the Dodgers? Just tell me, I basically just wanted to get your thoughts on, we're pretty close now because we're down to, about a month left of baseball, maybe.
Last little stretch here.
Yeah, so what are you seeing going down the stretch here? Who do you think, goes on to win the divisions, and who do you see, being able to succeed to get into the playoffs?
Well, I think Toronto comes out. I do think Toronto will come out of the East. Boston's playing kind of okay right now. The Yankees are
for sure.
The Yankees are typical modern day Yankees. They start out really well. They play really bad for Rob, and they kind of even out. They're kind of in that even out phase. They're 10 games over 500 right now. I think they're the second spot right now. They're half game behind Boston. They're 5.5 out of first place. So Toronto's been playing well. I'm really interested to see if Shane Bieber can keep pitching well because that's going to be a huge piece for them in the postseason. You got some good postseason experience with that rotation with him and Max Scherzer. I know he's pitched better. I know Berrios has not been pitching great lately, but before that he was having a good year. He's had a good career there.
Yeah, his last start was okay. I think he got what, 7 innings, somewhere 6+. But he had a quality start last time. But they were up against the Marlins again. But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, so they're playing well. I really think the American League comes down to Toronto and Boston. Detroit's really young. They were the best team in baseball the first couple of months, and they were really struggling. They've been playing well again. I mean, they're a good team. You know, Scooball's probably the Cy Young. That rotation's really good. The pitching's really good. I don't know if they have the offense though. It's been nice to see Torkelson have a really good year, but I'm not sure if they have the offense for the playoffs. And just look at the rest of the American League. The Yankees.
I want to quickly say Detroit picked up Finnegan too, so they have an amazing. They have 2 closers basically now.
Yeah, that pitching is really, really good.
Yeah.
I look at the rest of the American League. You know, I went over Detroit's concerns with the Yankees. Their rotation's pretty thin. Fried, his last time out, he pitched against Boston recently. He pitched well, but for a while has been struggling. Rodon has had a good year, but the rest of the rotation is just kind of meh. They've got a bunch of guys hurt.
Just quickly, one thing. I think Boston smashed the Yankees all year. I think they're like 16-1 against them or something like that.
Yeah, they
12-1. That's right. Yeah, they've been killing them.
Yeah, like Yankees won last night 7-2, but Boston won the previous 7, so they've really had the Yankees number this year. And
yeah,
the Yankees. Yeah, oh yeah, Yankees.
See those 2 teams which they have been beating each other up and just kind of like make it so that they're ending up beating each other so much they're fighting for wild card spots, and we run away with the East. I would like to see the Jays 10 games up going into September, ideally.
Yeah, and just with the Yanks, I still think they have the starting pitching. Breed's been until last start or two has been struggling. Rodon's been good, but then because of all the injuries they have, they didn't go out and get a star at the deadline, which was got kind of perplexing to be honest. It's Will Warren, who's still young. He hasn't been great. Then they have this kid Schittler up. Who?
Schittler, you just mentioned him. He's been good for them.
He's been pretty good. Still a rookie.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the rotation just kind of shaky. And even with the bullpen, like I know they picked up Bednar, they picked up Doval, which has helped. But you know, Devin Williams has been a little bit better since losing the closer role, but he overall hasn't had a good year. He's had troubles in the playoffs in the past. And I mean, and I feel like offensively every year they always kind of shut down a little bit. You know, Aaron Judge has had trouble in the playoffs, so I just don't think they have it this year.
My gut tells me they're not going to make a playoff spot. I think they're going to kind of choke, and they're not going to be strong enough.
It's possible. Right. It's still close. It's usually they're far enough ahead to where like, all right, not worried, but you know, they're 3.5 games ahead of Kansas City. They're a half game ahead of Seattle. They're 3.5 games ahead of Kansas City. They still have 30. They have 32 games left. That's a lot. That's a lot of games.
Yeah,
when you're only 3.5 up.
Yeah, so they want to make sure they're not seeing Boston in the final week, Because like if they're close, like Boston,
that's actually I wonder if I can look at their schedule really quick. Oh, I can.
Yeah, you know how like usually divisional teams end up.
Yeah. So they actually, well, this is August. Let's see September. They actually have a pretty easy finish to their season, the Yankees, because they get they see Boston one more time. Let me try to see if it's home or away. They see them. They see the Yankees at. They see Boston at Fenway. So September they start off with a rough stretch. They have to go to Houston to start the month.
Yeah.
They're home against your Blue Jays.
Oh wow! For the series. Wow.
For 3.
Yeah.
Then they stay home for Detroit for 3 more.
Oh, they got some tough matchups.
Yeah. Then they go to Fenway.
Even worse.
But from there, it kind of eases out from there. September 15th, they have 3 in Minnesota. They have 4 in Baltimore. They come home to play the White Sox for 3, and they finish at home against Baltimore.
It's the most important stretch, that 4th game. Those 4.
Yeah, so they have that, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12 game stretch to start September to where it's possible they go like 4-8, and if so, that might kill them. And like
That stretch, yeah, that Houston, Toronto, Detroit, and Boston stretch right there.
That's
That's
tough.
a season for them. That's your season right there.
Because it's one of those things they just have to kind of stay in it because then they finish with Minnesota, Baltimore, and the White Sox.
Yeah, you got it easy there. Yeah, should be able to get those.
So if they can just be in a spot come September 15th, which is in about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks,
yeah,
they're probably okay. But and they still have, let's see, this month they just lost 3-4 to Boston.
yeah,
And they, although they have 7 against Washington and the White Sox, they gotta win those games.
yeah. Well, that's pretty good pitching. But I was gonna quickly say one bright spot for the Yankees has been Giancarlo Stanton. Has been hot for like the last
He's
month.
been playing well.
Yeah, so because remember they rode him a bit last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If he can bring that magic back, maybe somebody can spark them. But I think you kind of laid out the rotation. They're beat up. They're starting pitchers beat up. They're really beat up. If you had Garrett Cole and he's healthy,
that's a big loss.
Yeah, that's a huge weight lifted off you if you have him. But yeah, they are in a hole. Rodon should be way better. He's never been since I don't think he's lifted the standard that they should have had him at when they got him. And Fried's been, I think, subpar, really, like you described.
Second half, he's been rough.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that's too bad because, but maybe they heat up. There's still like a month of baseball left. 30 games a month. So, yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I think my Final Four, I called it before. I don't know now. Mets are making me think twice, but I really felt it was going to be the Dodgers and the Mets in the NLCS.
Yeah.
And the Jays and the Tigers in the ALCS. And then I don't know, maybe the Dodgers don't go there now because they actually, again, on the weekend fell out of first for a day, and now they're tied with San Diego. So they're not, they have no excuse not to win a World Series. They have everything you can get. They have so much depth.
I know.
Like, if you don't win the World Series, like, you have no excuse. Like, honest to God, like, so and their pitching's getting healthy at the right time. Like, Snell's back.
Yeah.
And who else came back? Was it Glass now? Can't remember.
They're so deep, the Dodgers, in their rotation.
Right? I just don't know. I don't feel confident about them this year. I mean, San Diego looks like they're going to be as much. It's viable that they could go and get first place themselves.
They're tied with 30-something games left.
They made good moves at the deadline. I think I think the Jays did very well. I think they did very well. I think they got JT Sears, he may have looked like he wasn't a great starter, and he's on the wire today if you want to grab him. I was thinking about it. But anyway, I think he's going to do well for them. He came out of the Athletics, West Sacramento Athletics. Nobody calls him that, but anyway. He's a good pitcher. He's just on a crappy team there. I think he pitched well in his last one. He got a quality start for San Diego. I think that was his debut. So that was a good pickup. And then who else did they grab? Was there someone on the bullpen? I can't remember.
They got Mason Miller. They got Mason
Miller.
They got Mason Miller.
Is he setting up though for Suarez? I think
I think he's closing, and Suarez is setting him up.
Because Suarez has like 30 saves, doesn't he? 32 saves or so.
Yeah, he was closing for them, or maybe he's still closing. But those two back to back is tough.
That's crazy. That's the Jays back in the day in the 1980s and in the 1990s, they had a duo. It was Dwayne Ward, who's a setup man, and they had Tom Hank, who was a closer. And they were the most dominant setup man and closer ever. I swear to God, at least that I ever seen in my time watching baseball. The starters just had to get to 5 innings.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Ward could do 6 and 7 if you needed him to.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't. They would get another guy come into the 6 if they needed to. Then he could do 7 and 8, and Hanky would take it over. Then when the Jays won the World Series, Hanky left as a free agent to the Texas Rangers, and they made Dwayne Ward the closer, and he was an all-star that year, and he killed it. So, yeah, it's a luxury to have that. I think that's kind of what the Tigers did, right? They had Will Vest closing, and he did well. And he's got 19 saves or 20 saves. I think he's got one the other day. So they rest sometimes. They'll rest Finnegan. They'll give Vest the save, too. So, they got exactly that, too. Mason Miller, why would the Athletics trade him? What did they get from him? Because
they did get the third best prospect in baseball.
You have to.
They got a legit prospect for him.
Yeah, that's Mason Miller's a talent. He could start if you wanted him to. I don't know if they'll do that. I think that he's better in the bullpen and more dominant there. And he was an all-star, I think, as a rookie.
Yeah.
So I was so surprised that they moved him because I thought they're trying to get that team over in Vegas and try to You know, because
Yeah.
that new stadium they're building looks pretty awesome. I saw a picture of it. I know it wasn't a real picture; it was a sketch, but it looked realistic. And
It
yeah,
looks very good.
Yeah, it looks like they're saying they're going to change the game, but they don't. I mean, I got the Skydome right across from me right now. You know what that's like. So it's kind of like um, multiple kind of roofs. It looked like, like but the same shape as the one at the Skydome. We call it the Skydome still in Toronto, even though it's Rogers Center. But yeah, like that kind of oval shaped thing. It looks like they got several of those, and I don't know if that's like them just opening up the roof. I don't know. Like in Vegas, it's super dry, desert, hot. You've been there before? Yeah, so you know what it is. When the Blue Jays had their AAA team there, I used to think to myself, how the hell are they playing out?
Yeah, it's hot in Nevada.
I was out there a couple times. I was crazy. And I was going to try to go see one of the games when I was out there. But yeah, no, it's just crazy. But I just think that they have to have like air conditioning in that dome, and that's what they're trying to do. They're doing because the Bills are doing that with their stadium. They're doing something.
Yeah, they're also building on in this stadium too. Yeah.
Yeah, and their roof's going to have this mechanism that it'll melt off the snow, and then they've got like these drain portals for them.
Yeah, so we'll stay neat because the last few years they've really they've been paying the fans to come shovel snow, which isn't the worst thing is hearing their fans will jump off tables for them, but
yeah, so I've been there and I went. My friend had season tickets. He got rid of them during the pandemic because it was starting to be a bitch crossing the border. It was so hard.
My god, yeah.
So the stress was like he said, forget it. He didn't renew his season tickets, but we went. And he had the metal seats, And it's like the seats in there aren't the greatest either, You need to bring a pillow or something to sit on, especially if it's, November, you might be pushing it in terms of how cold it gets, right? But it's like, yeah. And so, like, I could only imagine what that stadium's like with the snow. It's not a bad stadium, but it's not a great stadium.
Yeah, it's just, first of all, it's so cold. Like, a friend of mine's a big Bills fan. He goes to Bills games every year. Like, even in like this set, look, in December it's obviously cold. It's New York or whatever you want to call Buffalo.
Yeah,
but it's like he has to wear like 4 or 5 layers when he goes to a game, even in December, because it is freezing.
They get the worst winter weather. There's always bad storms in Buffalo all the time.
It's bad upstate. It's bad upstate.
Yeah, it's Lake Erie, and it's like I thought when they were going to build a new stadium, they're going to build it away, but that's their advantage, I guess, right? I don't know, man. Yeah,
it's obviously there's 2 weeks looking at it, like, obviously if they're playing the 49ers who play in sunny California, but if they're playing the Jets, I mean the Jets play they play in New Jersey, but still in the tri-state area, so maybe not as much of an advantage, but it can be. You got teams not used to playing in the freezing cold.
I know. And so it's going to be interesting to see what this new stadium for the Bills is going to be like, because they this new mechanism, the state-of-the-art technology that they've created. I guess it starts with them. That maybe other stadiums will adapt it, but yeah, they're supposed to. Things supposed to melt the snow in such a way because they get badass storms, and when it comes down hard, it'll be able to melt the snow, catch it in kind of like a net kind of. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But one way it goes, it just gets the snow, it traps it, and then it melts it, and then it drains it out so that it stays warm in the stadium, Like, right. But the snow will still come in. I don't know, it's going to be interesting. But it's state of the art that they're doing this with, and I just want to wait. I think, was it 2027 they're going to have that stadium? Is that right?
Something like that, yeah. It's coming soon.
Yeah. Since we're into football, what do you think? Is it Bijan Robinson that just went to San Francisco, right?
Brian Robinson. I talked about. I talked about that very briefly earlier. Yeah, that's should be helpful because Christian McCaffrey is very injury prone. They need somebody.
About McCaffrey, because I did a Yahoo mock fantasy draft, and I took him. He's pushed down to like number 6 now. He was number 1 last year. But he's injury prone. He wasn't until last year. He was like, remember he had the streak of touchdowns. What was it like? What was this? Did he do the record account?
He got pretty close. He was pretty good for 17, 18 every single season.
Yeah.
But when he's healthy.
So he been some time before he'd been injured like that. But I'm just wondering, like, if his ankles are wonky or what his status is. But he might be a sleeper pick in the draft if he's I can't see why wouldn't he come back to what he used to be if he is fully rehabbed, right? He should be, right? Have you heard anything about him?
Not really. If he's healthy, he could be the number 1 player. I just think that a lot of people took him first last year and he played 4 games. He's had injuries in the past and he's done this before.
to me, man.
Yeah, he did it to me too. In one league, I took him first overall. I was excited, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, his Achilles still works. It's like, oh great.
It was brutal. It was that, and that, like I said, it was like seasons. He hadn't been injured like that for seasons. He had this streak going. But, yeah.
He'd finally looked like he had ditched the injury bug, and it came back to bite him last year. So it's I would say if you draft him, it's not a bad idea to have Brian Robinson.
Yeah, that's what they got him for.
Have his handcuff. Yeah,
they think they're going to need some support there, so that's kind of concerning to me. I mean, and so right now is it Jalen Williams? Is it or sorry? What I'm gonna do? I'm thinking that is it Jameer Williams?
with
Detroit. Sorry, what?
Jamal.
Sorry, I can't.
Jamal isn't playing for them anymore. Their backs are Gibbs and Montgomery.
It's Gibbs. Then I think he's ranked number 1 right now in fantasy. Let me just double.
He's up there. He's in the top 5.
He was the number 1 rated. I'm gonna go right in there right now just to real quick. Yeah, so Gibbs. It is Gibbs. Is he worth the number 1 pick? That's what he's ranked at right now in Yahoo Fantasy. For my league, at least, like I mean, that's where they got him ranked. They got him number 1
in the league.
Quarterbacks, they're ranking them ahead. But when you do a mock draft, you're seeing him at the top of the list, eh?
He's up there for sure. He's going between 3 and 5 in drafts that I've done. I mean, I do mine on ESPN and Sleeper. He's ranked like 3rd, 4th, 5th. The first 2 picks in pretty much every draft I've done has been Chase and Bijan. And then from there, it's like some combination of Gibbs, Jefferson, Saquon, and then McCaffrey. Puka Nacua is up there. Amon-Ra. That's how a lot of these drafts are going.
Okay, so you know what? I'm checking it right now. Maybe this has been updated since I did the mock draft. I did a mock draft like a week ago.
Okay.
I hope to get a bunch in my pocket before the drafts come up. Because I got 2 of my drafts on the same night. One's at 7:30. I run a league. You know, and then I got my former workplace. I'm still in their league, and that's going to be at 7:30 on Labor Day. And then I got the 9 p.m. So I did one draft, but so I'm looking at the list, and it's got McCaffrey number 1 now, and Barkley 2, Henry 3rd, Gibbs is 4th. But I swear to you, when that draft started, I'm like, this guy's ranked number 1, man. Like, I don't. Do you think he's worthy of being the top running back in the league this year, Jahmyr Gibbs?
I do. He's really explosive. He catches the ball. I think if you take him in the first round. Again, like
it's a good bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. The only backs I would have ahead of him would be Bijan, Saquon, and maybe McCaffrey if you really believe he's going to stay healthy. And the only receiver I would have ahead of him is Chase and Jefferson. So he's going to be going very high for pretty much every draft.
You mentioned Henry, right? I mean, he's 3rd ranked, so I think is he worthy of that? I think that's. He's 32.
He's up there too. I'd probably have him right behind McCaffrey.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, it's McCaffrey, Barkley, Henry, and then Gibbs, and then Bijan Robinson. Then they got 18, but he's questionable. I don't know. It just sounds like he's not really healthy. But man, Julian Taylor fell. Not Julian Taylor. Sorry, that's a position that I know. Julian Taylor. Jonathan Taylor really felt.
Yeah.
I remember when he was like the top guy before. He's just like not even that anymore.
Yeah, he's going in the 2nd round for pretty much every draft that I've done.
I was gonna say, do you think he might be a sleeper?
He because I would think he'll get a lot of receiving work because Daniel Jones is the quarterback.
Yeah.
He could have an elite year.
Yeah.
He's very good. He does miss a couple of games every year.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep him in my mind. I might if all the running backs are taken up by the time I get to my 2nd, because like where am I? I get the 4th pick. You know how some dudes, a lot of guys in my league, they wait till the 3rd pick to get their 3rd round to get their quarterback. Let's talk quarterbacks real quick. And what do you think? Like, I think the best fantasy quarterback is Lamar Jackson. I think he's actually the best quarterback in my league. I really truly do. I think he is hands down the best quarterback. All in all, I really do. I believe he's the best quarterback in the league. Maybe people don't agree with that, but I think he year in year out you can depend on him, and he carries that team, man. So I don't know. Who do you think is the top, in your opinion, quarterbacks? Who are you drafting this year in fantasy?
So there's the way that the draft boards are fallen this year. Lamar, Allen, Hurts, and Jane Daniels, who are the top 4 in fantasy, just because of how much they run. They're pretty much all going almost not quite in a row, but they're all like grouped. They're ranked very close to each other. They're pretty much all going like the third round, maybe dipping into the fourth.
Okay.
So if you can get one of those guys, that's great. However, you can get a really good quarterback later than that. Like Baker Mayfield last year was ranked like fifth. He's like top 7 this year probably in fantasy because they have so many weapons over there. He's going in like I think like the 6th round. So you can wait and get a really good quarterback. Like Joe Burrow's going in the 4th or the 5th round. Mahomes is going in like the 6th or the 7th round.
You got to keep in mind if he like his. I think he was having a great year last year and the year before, so he's always good. Yeah, I think he's a guy to keep in mind too. I mean, Josh Allen, man, I got him in our keeper league, and he let me down last year in the first round or second round. It was the second round. He had a lame ass game, So like, what do you think about? I know he won MVP last year, but he had a couple quiet games here and there last year, even though he won MVP. And I don't know, what do you think about the Bills? I mean, we were talking about a minute ago about their stadium, but what's going on with them? I don't think they're bringing Amari Cooper back, and so wide receivers. I don't like. What do you think? James Cook. Okay, that's solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everything else around Josh Allen, James Cook, and the defense looks like it's downgraded as well. I think they ranked him like 9th right now, or something like that, or maybe it's 11th. But that I saw in fantasy, I'm going by what I saw in fantasy. But anyway, what do you think of those things with the Bills? And like quarterbacks, I mean, obviously, you can tell me about Josh Allen. Do you think that he's a guy to take? Obviously, he's a guy to take. But you know how you can sometimes, there's some games where he doesn't get passes off, and if he's not running, you know what I mean? Like, and he comes across some solid defense in the league. That happens. So what do you think?
In terms of fantasy, I think Allen's probably the second or third quarterback off the board. I have no reason. I think he'll be elite again. I'm not too worried about that. He was in past years, he was a little bit inconsistent. The turnovers were a problem. He was better last year. He won MVP, obviously. So, but I'm very confident taking him 3rd, 4th round as my QB1.
First round, okay. So in my deep league, the one that my former workplace, it's hilarious. There's a lot of women in the league. They all take the quarterbacks right off the top, And there's like 16 teams in the league. It's a seriously deep league. And it's hilarious because I've been in it for 3 years. And the first year I finished 3rd. And last year, and then the second year I finished last. And that's because I just gave up star players to my manager and wanted to trade. And he owes me one, and he won't ever do it back to us. And then last year it was awesome because I was in the bottom because of the McCaffrey thing. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. And and then but I had a solid team, Actually, no, sorry, I didn't have McCaffrey in that league. I had him in my Yahoo league. I had Lamar Jackson, but I lost a few guys to injury. I can't remember exactly who. I think it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I ended up getting. I got on last place, and I managed to get in the playoffs, and I went to the finals.
Wow.
The problem was it was week 18 that they did the finals.
Oh, I don't like those. Too many guys don't play.
Exactly. Exactly. You're not, and if you got exactly. Yeah, you're not gonna have shitty.
Oh wait, Neil, I think I remember you asking me last year about somebody like, oh yeah, are they gonna play? Maybe it was Saquon or something. I remember you asking me like, hey, like I'm still doing fantasy this week. Do you think he's gonna play? I remember thinking like, oh boy, yeah, I didn't even know that he did leagues.
He was gonna break the record.
Yeah, and they didn't play. I remember you asking, like, do you think he's gonna play? I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if he's going to play.
Yeah, it was a good debate. Actually, we had a few other people that might have chimed in. I think I can't remember if I remember exactly, but it was a good move because it ended up winning them the Super Bowl. I think that was a solid move on his part. And did he not? Did he? Who won Super Bowl MVP? Was him?
MVP was, I think it was Hurts.
Was it Hurts? Okay, I can't remember exactly who won MVP. Yeah, but I think that was a solid move because you don't want to risk it. I know that was the all-time record right there, which would be solid to have. He's going to the Hall of Fame either way.
Yeah.
But I think that was a great decision. I think that really preserved him, and they had the focus go right to winning the Super Bowl. And I didn't think they were going to win the Super Bowl. I knew they had a shot. I knew they had a solid shot. I didn't think they were going to win it, though. But that was awesome. That was a good story. I think they did a great job. So, Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get my head wrapped around football fantasy, and then I think, yeah. So in terms of wide receivers, real quick, I don't think we touched on wide receivers, but who do you think are the top wide receivers out there, and do you foresee any breakthroughs? I think Xavier Worthy might be a breakthrough wide receiver this year.
Sleeper,
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, give me your thoughts on the wide receivers. Okay, I'm just gonna take a look at the list here real quick too. While I mention that to you. Yeah. So Jamar Chase, I think, is the best wide receiver in the game, hands down. Who do you see after him? They have Jefferson, and they got Brown, and then Nakua, and then Lamb. Okay, go ahead. You tell me who you think.
Yeah, Chase and Jefferson are definitely the top two. Chase is going one and first pick pretty much every single draft that I've done. Maybe he doesn't go past second pick. Jefferson, once in a while he slides to like 6 or 7. Most of them he's going in the top 5.
Yeah.
And those are the top 2. After that, there's Puka Nakua is going very high.
Yeah.
You got Amon-Ra is going first round pretty much every draft.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors in most drafts is going late first round. CB Lamb as well. The top 5 are probably in fantasy, probably Chase, Jefferson, and then whatever order you want to put them in.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra, Neighbors, and Lamb with Nakua, and Nakua that's the top 6 in whatever order you want to put them in.
And it looks like AJ Brown, is he falling off the radar? Because he's down here, and
he's lower than I think he should be.
Yeah, he's a sleeper, maybe, eh?
Yeah, I've taken him. Yeah, I know he's nicked up in camp, but I follow myself kind of almost kind of falling into my lap because he's going like a lot of it is going closer to the second round. So he's just sometimes middle of the second round, he just kind of fell to me. I was like, oh, all right, I'll take a top 5 receiver in football just in the second round.
Yeah, because like people eat up all the stars real quick too, right? If you're like, what pick do you? So you're doing? You've already done some drafts? Is that right?
Yeah, I've done a couple. I had one where I think drafting. It's weird. I had one draft where I had the second pick in a 10 team. I had a 12 team. Yeah, no, I had in the 12 team league. I had pick 2.
Right.
I did a 10 team and I was pick 10.
Right.
And I did an 8-team league. And that was pick 8. So I've been either right towards the start or right towards the end, which I kind of prefer.
Nice. Well, I got the 4th pick, so I'm hoping that maybe
that's a good spot. That's a good spot to be in for.
Yeah, I think I'm probably end up taking a running back there because, like you said, Chase will probably go number 1, right?
Yeah. Most likely.
And then, so hopefully, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to steal a good quarterback early because the football league that I run is only 10 teams. I keep it at 10 teams because in case, like, you lose a star player, the waiver wire is healthy enough that you might be able to find a replacement or a decent, substitute. So, so that didn't happen for me with McCaffrey. I almost made the playoffs, but I lost a couple of close matchups. But, like, the McCaffrey thing was a huge blow. Like, just, you know what I mean? So... But yeah, I mean, I might try to get Josh Allen in my deep league, my former workplace, the one that I tell you all the women take the picks, and they just randomly do the order. I wish that they would actually just do it based on the standings last season. So, for instance, in my fantasy basketball, I have a keeper league that I entered last year with this guy that I work because he was stressing out one night. He was my tech. And he was like, oh, man. He's like, I got to find somebody for my league. And he was all stressed out. And I'm like, I'll take it. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And we went in the booth, and when we came out, got jumping or whatever, like, got everything done. He's like, oh, man, I can't tell you how relieved I am. So I went in his league, and it's pretty cool because I had the guy that I took the team off for, he, like, traded away all his picks. And so I had, like, the 9th. I didn't start selecting until, like, the 9th round. But I made trades. I got, like, Steph Curry. I ended up getting, like, some great stars, and like I ended up trading for Joel Embiid. That was a gamble later, but anyway, I ended up making the playoffs. But what they do is they don't want guys to tank in that league, so whoever finishes late, they do like the last 4 picks, they do a lottery.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of cool, eh? I might consider doing that one time. But I think
that's actually that's cool. I do like the idea. I like that idea. You put names in the hat or something. You pull them out, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Whatever it takes to be able to determine an order in like a lottery format type thing, that would be totally fine. I think that in the leagues that I run, because you're in a couple of them, so
Hmm.
I think that everybody competes. Like the parity in our baseball league's pretty good. Like if you notice, like there's guys that are just
Yeah.
falling to the bottom that were rolling in the beginning of the season, but just now some guys from the bottom, like Red Box is in 11th. He's only 8.5 out of eighth spot. And then there's a dude by the name of Deer Park Bats, who's my boy Scotty. He just got in the eighth seed. I don't even know if he was in a playoff picture. Maybe he might have been at the beginning of the year, but it's been a long time since he was up in that bracket and he came all the way
Yeah,
from
it's because I like about that league is like normally in like regular baseball, if you're 10 games out in August, your season's done. In fantasy,
yeah.
if you're 10 games out right now, your season's still alive. You can still get in.
That's exactly why I set it up the way that I do,
Yeah.
so that we all have a chance. You know what I mean? Everybody
Like
has a chance.
at one point, I was like 11th place. I was like 8 or 9 out. I was like, uh-oh. But then fast forward a couple months later, I think I'm in sixth place right now.
Yeah, I remember that. You did. You came from the bottom too, as a matter of fact, but you stayed there. Like you haven't been. You've been in the middle of the pack the whole time.
Yeah.
Remember, I actually sent you a message a couple weeks ago saying, "Hey, man, your team's sitting in the middle nicely," and then you actually got up to fourth place.
I did, yeah. I did.
Yeah.
At one point, in fact, I don't know why. I usually check the standings almost every day. I guess I went like a week without checking for whatever reason. So I was like, let me just check. And I saw I was in fourth. I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't even realize I thought I was still in like sixth or seventh. I'm back in sixth now, but I've never been like, oh wow. So like for like 4 or 5 days, I was in fourth place, but I remember right now I'm in sixth, I think.
Team's in for sure. I don't think
It should get in.
Yeah, you've been like in the middle of the pack the whole time. Like you've been right there in the middle, so you're good. I think that you're gonna get in. But yeah, like I was gonna say, like even when you get in the playoffs in this league, like in anything, even the basketball league, you saw like I was second last year and I got eliminated in the first round. Same with the number one seed. The 7 and the 8 seed won the first round. So like I set it up kind of like where everybody has a chance, so that there's no you're like you said, like if you lose a star player or something, you're done in the like last 4 weeks. That your team's done. It's not like that. So it's been pretty good, man. Like I think that even like last year in baseball, I ended up winning the league. I ended up winning first. I think finished first because the guy that was in first, he ended up just tanking all of a sudden. And I think we see that too with our first place team this year. He was actually tanking too, but then they end up having a couple good weeks. But yeah, good luck in baseball fantasy. I hope that you're gonna have a good run, man. But we made a good trade too, so
Yeah.
that was pretty good. Yeah, man. So yeah, I think that was an awesome chat we had about fantasy.
Absolutely.
Football too. I think you pretty much acknowledged a few things that I needed to really ask about, and I think you gave good information too. So now I know already from our conversation a couple players to keep in mind. I got the cobwebs out of my head now and starting to get back into the football. You know how when you get back in the season, you have to start remembering things. So yeah, I now after our discussions, I know that Jonathan Taylor and probably AJ Brown are good sleeper. Like they're going to be lower ranked, I should say, and they might be guys to get in the second round if everybody's getting eaten up real quick. So that's good. I was going to say real quick, in our fantasy league, the keeper one, is that guy dropped out? Did that guy dropped out of his team, or he just what happened there? Like, is there a guy that just left our league? Because
in the baseball league?
No, in our football keeper sleeper league, sleeper keeper, the one that Armchair runs.
Oh yeah, that was weird. I know it's weird because he's in the Discord that we're in Armchair Discord. He's very active in it. And I remember when he left, somebody asked, like, one more Armchair were all confused, and one of them asked, like, did he leave the Discord? And I texted no, because he had said something like 3 minutes prior, and he's like just as active as I am in there. So I was like, no, he messaged.
I write that. Yeah.
He was like, I was like, no, he sent the video in the baseball chat 3 minutes ago. He's not. So I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully they find a replacement.
Oh, I messaged Armchair and said I have somebody that would be willing to take a team. So he said, let me just find out what's going on and we'll go from there. I said, okay.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, I got, that's, I keep a good network with people and,
right.
Yeah, so I got somebody that wants that league, and he'll be a guy that's not going to be like he's going to be active all the time with his team. Like he'll be doing, like you know what I mean. He's not going to be like, oh, I'm out of it. Kind of like he's not going to be one of those guys. He's going to be like as you see in our baseball, like everybody's competing all the way from the bottom up. So he's one of those guys. But yeah, I mean, hopefully that gets sorted out. It sounded like the guy. So he did leave his team then, or something technically went wrong.
I have no idea. This happened yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, so
And
like,
I got a notification that he left the league, and Armchair and Wilmer were kind of not flipping, but we're kind of like, the season's in a week and a half, so like, it's dynasty, so like the team's already 3 years into it. So I don't think he's fan to number team. I haven't checked, but I think I would have gotten a notification, and I haven't. So but he's Armchair has about like 10 or 11 days to figure this out.
I said that I have somebody in case you need it. And then I sent the email address to him. So maybe he might have already sent it to him because I sent a message to my friend who I gave his email address to Armchair. I said, "Did you get the team yet?" But he hasn't sent anything yet. So maybe Armchair did send it to him. Maybe I thought that it looked like the way Armchair received it was like something technically went wrong because he was kind of puzzled by it.
Yeah, it was because it's. Yeah. I guess there was. Do you remember when didn't last year you got removed on accident?
Yes, that did happen to me. Absolutely, yes.
So there's this group of people who I'm not gonna name names. One, I think you know them. Two, I don't even know all of them. That I guess had problems with Armchair, and they were in Discord. Now they no longer are. So I think Armchair removed them last year. Somehow you got roped into that, and
yeah,
I remember when it removed. I was like, I get why some of the other people were. I know Armchair isn't on great terms with those. Like, as far as I know, you're on good terms with him, and then obviously it got resolved.
I think I actually messaged
you.
Yeah,
you asked.
Did something happen to our league? And you're like, no, it's still going. I'm like, do you see my team in there or something like that?
Yeah, and then I looked. I was like, actually, Neil, no, you got removed. I think you're actually. I did not.
Right away, and he put me right back in, and I said, like I hadn't been speaking to Pat Rush at the time, or I didn't even know what the hell was going on.
I didn't even know either. I mean, Armchair has his thoughts to them. I have my thoughts on him, but I eventually learned some of the BS that happened.
Yeah.
And then, he Wilmer kind of alluded to there was a group that kind of doesn't like Armchair, so he removed them because didn't trust them.
And that video was in Discord or something like that. I hadn't even I've been in Discord recently, but I hadn't been on Spaces or nothing for almost near 2 years. You know what I mean? So with all that stuff, that whatever happened, I had told that to Armchair, and it was all good. And then he put me right back in. I'm like, hey, I haven't spoken to Pat Rush, and everything's cool with Pat Rush, and I haven't spoken to him in months. And I remember too, you'd asked me you're like, hey, have you spoken to Pat Rush? Because I remember you were in his IG group, I think, and you had gotten the note, and I was like, no, I haven't spoken to him in a while. And I'm like, I don't know why he would do that, but yeah, so I know that there was, I don't know, and I hope it wasn't anything to do with that. But yeah, I remember the weird things happen like that, and I didn't have any knowledge of it with, the situation with the keeper league. So I basically had done that work and just said, hey, I'm sure, I wasn't sure. And he reinstated me right away, so that's awesome. But yeah, no, I'm hoping that, yeah, because when is the draft? Or we already did our draft. Sorry, when is our start season? I mean,
so the draft's done. The season's all set. Obviously teams been making moves, as they can. And the guy, in fact, I know who that is. I've been on a show with him before. He seems like a good guy. He's in the Discord a lot. I've had some good conversations with him. In fact, last night him and I were talking about the whole thing with Raha Jackson and that whole crazy incident. So he's a good guy. He's always in the Discord, and he's been in the Discord, and he's one of the most active members. So there's no reason why he would just drop out like that this close to the season. So Armchair and Woman themselves will literally take what's going on. So I don't know what's going on with that, but hopefully they resolve it soon, because it's not it's one thing that happens in June. You have a couple of months. The season starts in a week.
That's why I'm saying, hey, I got somebody red flag, because I understand the urgency. We're coming up here, and it kind of when I look, I don't even want to look at that right now because it keeps seeing team Fata with no names, and it scares me. We need to have full active league here, I remember actually, I actually left this keeper hockey league that I was in the last 2 years from my former workplace, but I just basically got tired of it because the commissioner was never able to be like reachable. But I think he was purposely doing that.
No.
But yeah, no, they did that same sort of thing, and I was just like, forget that, man. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, it was just like I don't know. I more or less like it was a keeper league, and they just basically had it set up that it was they had 8 teams, and the commissioner was running 3 of the teams, eh?
What the?
So I was like, what the hell is this?
What the heck?
Yeah, I'm like, my buddy Jeff really desperately wanted to league. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I don't even like this league already. So I went and got 2 guys from my hockey league and got them to take the teams, eh? Yeah. So that everybody was running a team, right? Separately. And then now I feel bad because I left the league and I'm leaving those 2 guys behind. It's just, they got set up that, like, you know, like where it's very, like, obscure. Like, it's basically like, you're basically like, if a guy scores a power play goal, he gets like 24 points.
What?
It just gets whack. Yeah, it's just brutal. So I'm like, forget that too. But yeah, no, I'm glad that I always have you in the leagues, man. You're doing really well in baseball, and you know you do well in basketball too. You've got a good knowledge in basketball. So yeah, like, I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna be. I think I renewed the league already, and I already have the draft order and all that. But no, I love the fact that because you got great, you have baseball knowledge and great football knowledge, and I'm glad that you spoke to me because now I kind of have a very good idea of what I'm looking for in the draft, and kind of, you know, like when you go into a draft, you always got to have in the back of your mind like the sleeper players and a couple of tricks that you can play. Like I did that this year in our baseball draft because I had the last pick, but yeah, so that's awesome because. Like you can't get a lot of info from the preseason. You basically have to kind of read the reports and see how people are doing with their health and stuff like that, and where they're at. And so yeah, that was an awesome conversation. But yeah, man, I mean, I know you don't want to be on here all day. I don't know what time you started exactly at, but I thought I got to get on here and talk to you. I've been on a few times and just listened to you ran away. Probably got on at the end when you know, I know usually this for about half an hour or so, but yeah. Awesome conversations, man, and good luck in the baseball playoffs. I'll get on here again and jump on with you.
For sure,
and then basketball's going to be coming up soon, so we'll talk a lot about that. And awesome football chat. Okay, man, so I'll jump out now. I know you probably want to wrap up your show and all that, but awesome. Thank you so much for having me, man, and we'll do this again.
Of course, Neil, you're welcome anytime. That's Neil Kumar. He comes on my show from time to time. We're in a bunch of Discord together, a bunch of fantasy leagues together. We were just talking about that. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to go over the MLB standings, and then we're going to take this thing home. We kind of talked about it a little bit. I talked about this with Neil a little while ago already. Briefly, we kind of did a little bit closer look at the playoff picture, not necessarily full standings view. American League East, I mentioned Toronto, 5 up on Boston, 5.5 on Yanks. Boston just took 3 or 4 from the Yankees. Then you have Tampa, pretty much out of the division for sure. Baltimore's out of it. Detroit's the division we had kind of slipped. It's built back up again. They're up 10.5 now on Kansas City. They have, my math is correct, 130, they think 30 games left or so. So they should be locked up a division relatively soon. We got Houston Astros. They're 2 games up on Seattle. Both teams haven't been playing great. A little more so Seattle in that case, but the whole division they're playing right now. Texas, they played pretty much 500 ball up until the break. They got hot to the point where like they might steal a playoff spot, and they've kind of fallen apart again. So you just got a sweep of somebody. So they're hanging in there. They're 6-0 games out of that division. Angels pretty much out of it. They're not playing well. They've been mediocre all year as per usual. We're not playing right now. The A's are out of it. National League East still be 7 games up on the Mets. Everyone else pretty much done. Atlanta has been playing some good baseball, but still taking into a playoff spot. Miami overall, they had that one little hot streak where they kind of got themselves kind of into the race, but since then have fallen off again. Central Brewers. So the Cubs take 2 of 3 from the Brewers. They've kind of gotten back on the right track. They were struggling for a while. They've gotten to within 5 games in Milwaukee. They were both within like 4 or 5 games of each other for pretty much all year. Milwaukee went on that 14-game win streak, which kind of let them pull away a little bit. But Cubs, win the series against Milwaukee and been playing better. Milwaukee's cooled off. They've, I guess, come back down to earth. So Cubs are right now, they're definitely going to be going to the playoffs. And right now, 5 games out of that division. Reds are playing. It's cool for a bit, but they're still right there in the wild card race. Cardinals are struggling. They're not completely done yet. Pirates to the Pirates. Dodgers and Padres, they're both tied for first place right now. Both just kind of playing okay right now. Both 74 and 57. Then Arizona is kind of been meh. Then you got the Giants, who have just been horrible for a while. They just don't really have any hitting, which is shocking considering they traded for Rafael Devers back in June. And the Rockies, the other day, were officially eliminated from playoff contention. It is August 25th. They are already out, 37 and 94. I talked about this the other day. They only have to win 5 more games the rest of the way to not be the worst team ever, like the White Sox were last year. They have, let's see, they put 131 games, so they have 31 games left. All they gotta do is just go 4-27. So they'll do that, but they're still gonna have over 110 losses. This team is dreadful. They've been outscored by 349 runs, by far the worst in the league. The next worst mark is the Washington Nationals. They've been outscored by 153. Excuse me. Almost 200 runs worse. So 204 runs worse, I think it is. That comes to maybe 196. So the Rockies are historically bad against teams. You look, the Coors Field home field advantage hasn't been there. They're 21 and 45 at home. They're even worse on the road somehow. Against teams below 500, they have 8 wins. They're just a joke of an MLB team, a joke of a franchise. Wild card race. Baltimore now is the first wild card. They're a half game ahead of the Yankees. Seattle is a half game behind the Yankees for the second spot, a game behind Boston for the first spot. Kansas City is 3 games out. They've been playing pretty well. Texas 4.5 games out. I mentioned they've been kind of up and down. Cleveland, who had gotten hot, has fallen off again. They've lost 5 in a row. They're now 5 games out. Tampa is 6.5 out. National League, Cubs is the first wild card spot. Dodgers and Padres are tied for that second spot because they're both tied for the division. Mets still the last team in right now. They're 4.5 games out of the second wild card spot, 6.5 out of the first wild card spot. Reds still hanging in there, a game and a half behind the Mets. Arizona's 5.5 games out. Giants are 6.5 games out. That's your MLB playoff picture right now. That is all I got for you guys today. Should be on tomorrow. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.